Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It's once again Wednesday morning, and we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube in conversation with. And in this week, I'm very pleased to be joined by Simon Stoneham from Sector Marketing. And there's many reasons why I'm really excited about this conversation today. But first and foremost, good morning, Simon. Please introduce yourself to the world.
Good morning, Brian. So I'm Simon. I run Sector Marketing. I founded the business back at the very beginning of this year, and then since then we've expanded from what we thought would just be perhaps a PR and social agency to now working with, many businesses providing marketing infrastructure and many other services.
I think that's absolutely wonderful. Now, one of the reasons you sort of pushed on it there. You started your business early this year, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. Well done, congratulations on that. What made you take the step? Because you're quite a young person. I'm not afraid to say that you're a lot younger than me. What made you take the step, saying no, stuff it? I'm gonna be self-employed. I'm gonna start my own business, because that's a brave decision to make.
I think for me it was more a matter of when rather than if. I'd always had the vision of working for myself and hopefully pursuing a successful career. So I was at a point where I was at university. I was doing well with my studies, but then once I started doing a bit of work at the back end of last year with a few clients here and there, I started to see a huge degree of potential. So after I wrapped up the last, academic year in May, we went full steam ahead. But even between January and May, it's been crazy busy and absolutely super in terms of growth. So for me, the reason I made the decision is it's the freedom. My work-life balance is fantastic. Okay, I'm working probably more hours than I would in a full-time job, but the reward I get from seeing, my work being posted on YouTube, being posted all around on social media, seeing growth within businesses due to campaigns that we've put in place is, it's an unmatched reward.
It's a big step. Obviously, it's a big step to take. So, but you're young, you're brave. So I applaud you for saying, why not? Let's just go ahead and do it.
Thank you very
So
much.
it's starting out. Where do you start? What was your sort of entry into sort of finding your first customer? Talk me through that. How did you sort of did you have sort of work experience with someone that you build up and do your studies, or did you how did you fell into the first client?
So my background's motorsport, which is actually how we met many years ago.
Yeah.
So my background's motorsport, which gave me the opportunity to work with a guy who's now a commentator for the Formula One broadcast team, Chris McCarthy. And he had a reasonable range of clients, which we did social media management for. And I started working underneath his umbrella, also working underneath Arden Motorsports Driver Academy, working on some social media marketing stuff and actually realizing where my passions were in terms of a mentoring or a role that made me see progress in other people or businesses that then gave me a huge reward. And then Chris made the decision that he was going to step away from that, and he handed me a degree of the client. And then from there, I started doing that. But I saw a huge amount of potential to turn what was at the time 10 clients into a huge pool of clients, and not only individuals and teams, which it was at the time, but also going to now work with big businesses. And where we stand today, we're plugged into many big businesses that turn over £8 to £10 million a year in revenue, which is incredible.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It sounds like a very, very solid start. And as you know, I'm familiar with Arden and the Arden Group and all that stuff. So that's a great place to start, because one of the things with business is that you're only as successful as the people you know and the contacts you have, aren't you? So I think that's wonderful to hear. It's very great to hear that someone makes a fist of it so quickly. So I congratulate you on that. So what is it? So you just mentioned you have a passion for motorsport, and that's where you started. Is that where you sort of niche into? Is that into sort of the racing world, motor racing, motorsports world?
Not necessarily as much as I thought it would be. When we started, yes, we were 100%. 100% of my clients came from within within motorsport. But as we grew, I made connections from within the industry that got me business outside of the industry. So one of my clients provides data infrastructure to businesses. One of my clients is a sports team completely unrelated to motorsport. We've had some discussions with huge organizations in terms of that put on big events and stuff like that. So it isn't entirely motorsport now. My passion and my absolute love is motorsport. I love it, and that's where I want to keep a degree of my interest. But I very quickly realized that if I want my business to grow, I need to grab every opportunity I can. And actually, having expanded outside of motorsport, I picked up passions in and interest in so many different fields of business, in things that had you told me at the start of the year I'd be interested in, I probably would have laughed.
It's funny how being self-employed all of a sudden changes your perspective on a whole bunch of things, isn't it?
For
You
sure.
know,
For sure.
I
It
I
really
know
is.
work-life balance is obviously really important, but you got to do the work. You got to do when you got to do it, don't you? Whether that's early in the morning or late at night. You just got to be done.
Exactly, and that's one thing I really enjoy. I don't mind the sacrifice of working late, whereas perhaps when I've worked, when I was 17, 18 and I was working a traditional 17, 18-year-old's job, the motivation of, oh, can you stay an hour later, perhaps isn't what it is now.
Yeah,
If I need to work 18 hours in a day or whatever it may be, it's worth the sacrifice because I'm firsthand seeing the reward.
yeah. And the coming
And
Thursday, you can just take the day off if you want to.
exactly. And should I have the free time, I can go and see my friends, spend time with family. And while some days it's hell how much I have to work, other days it's complete freedom. And yeah, there's nothing better than it.
No, no, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I just want to sort of what sort of I know you're obviously very new into it, and it's early days, and luckily or thankfully you're really busy. What's sort of your sort of vision in the future? Because part of growing is start looking at office space, taking on staff, and all that kind of stuff. What's your talk me through the vision?
The vision with sector marketing is it's a little bit blurry because I like to kind of take things day at a time, but I really see us going in the direction of providing, well, being a large corporate marketing agency, those that are being plugged into many big businesses and being involved on many projects. I mean, I'm already so grateful to be able to work with so many incredible clients that hopefully off the back of them and word of mouth and the marketing that we do for ourselves and things like this, where you can talk about the vision. I'm hoping that within the next year we can bring on some hopefully full-time staff, perhaps one or two, in-house marketers or perhaps a sales rep who can hopefully, increase that growth, increase the business.
Mm.
And we can really start to look to, hit the turnover figures that we want. And then I guess there's no real ceiling to it.
Highest
We
limit,
can
isn't it?
hopefully keep on growing. And then, of course, I've got my passions within motorsport, which perhaps I pursue on a more personal route. But at the moment, on the marketing front with this business, I really see us just pushing towards just growth and picking up many clients and staying involved with some really cool projects. In the first 6 months, we've been involved in some pretty cool things. So it's
That's
more
cool.
the opportunity to have these amazing experiences and hopefully bring people on board to share and make the most of them with.
The motorsport industry is an interesting one because unless you're sort of really interested in it, it's I before I sort of got involved with with Arden, I never really sort of because I would be honest, I'm not a great motorsport fan before I got involved with Jamie and his team, and I was absolutely gobsmacked how big it is. I think if you're not inside it, I think it's very hard to imagine how big motorsport actually is. It's humongous.
For sure. I mean, from the outside, even for me before I worked, I was 16 when I got involved with Arden, and before then, I was still racing. I was still heavily involved, but you only still saw 1%. And now I'm like, quite implemented into the infrastructure of motorsport. It's incredible how much goes on and the amount of people involved and the amount of opportunities that you don't even think would exist.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, and that's what I like about it. I really think there's no better space to network, because in motorsport there's a lot of successful business people that choose to race as a hobby, who aren't professional racing drivers but use their weekends to go drive, a McLaren around a racetrack, which is wonderful. But it also, for me, creates a huge marketplace, because everyone's relaxed, you're knowledgeable about motorsport, and then I've picked up probably a good 80% of my clients just through speaking to people in the paddock.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. So you just mentioned there that you used to race. What did you race?
So I still race today as such. I've grown up in the motorsport world of karting, which has been incredible, which led to my involvement with Arden as a driver on their program, and then becoming,
Okay.
head of press and communications, which is where I am now. And also now I obviously, it's my opportunity to give back. Motorsport's given me a lot. It's allowed me to get to where I am, and now for me to be able to give back to the young drivers as like a mentor, and help them build brands, help them build profiles, help them decide what career route they want to go down, and then work with the incredible team we have in the program, and then the select few drivers I had the opportunity to work with outside of the program, and really just it's the same reward that I get from working with businesses and seeing business success. It's seeing that driver excel, or the individual excel in their field of racing.
Sure. No, that makes a lot. That makes a lot of sense. So it's just which we're sort of we're sharing a project at the moment, aren't we, for one of these? So it's interesting, isn't it? Because as you say, there's great opportunities for lots and lots of industries inside the motorsport, and I think one of the big things that people don't take advantage of enough is collaborations. And we're fortunate enough to collaborate, and you and I are collaborating on a project right now for a racing driver. So talk to us a little bit about this racing driver that we are building a site together for at the moment, because I don't know an awful lot about him, and I'm sure it'll describe the process nicely to the audience that might be watching this.
Yeah, no, for sure. So at the moment, we're working on a site build for a young driver named Aaron. He's looking to make the step from karting, which he's been doing all around Europe, all around the world at an incredibly high level, and is now stepping up to
Just describe that a little bit, Mimo, because again, a lot of the audience won't understand what that means.
Yeah.
So he drives go kart, but so he drives around the world in World Series, or what
So
is that?
it's multiple championships that so it'll be like an Asian series, and then he'll do like a European series and a British series, and it's the top level, so it's the same ranks that like Lewis Hamilton, Jenson Button, and the like came through.
Okay, so it's like a professional thing where that's all
Yeah,
he
it's
does.
as high level as you can realistically get for karting,
Okay.
and he is he's an exceptional young talent, and is really pushing towards a career in motorsport. And next year he makes the big step from karting, and he's going straight. He's heading towards a GT career, which
Okay.
is incredible for
And
for
again,
his age.
just let's GT. So that's like a normal, like a normal car, not like a single seater car. Yeah.
No, so it's more the cars you'd see on the road, but it's more your
Yeah.
Aston Martins, your McLarens, your Ferraris,
Sure.
and cars like that, which it's a fantastic opportunity for such a young driver. And they approached me back end of August about doing working with them on a website, and then since then it's such a seamless process.
Sure.
What we're able to do, so we've picked their template, and we've now started to build the site. Currently we're in the process of the first draft, but the way when I built my site through you guys, and the way we're building this site, it's such an easy process. It's one-way information, and it's good feedback that's really important.
Mm. So
But no,
then just before we move on a little bit too far into that kind of stuff, which I do want to cover,
Mhm.
if we just sort of so for him, uh, the purpose of him engaging with you with us is because he really needs to raise funds to fund his ongoing progression in doing his career, isn't it? Sponsorships.
To some degree, yes. I'm not necessarily involved too much on the sponsorship side with this driver.
Right.
However, at some point in any driver's career, funding and branding and sponsorship is a necessary part. And now he's making that step from, in the whole scheme of motorsport, what is such an amateur level being karting, to now going to the professional level of GTs. It adds that, I guess, another layer of professionalism and
Yeah. So I don't think people realize, especially not if you're not in motorsport. We're not talking tens of thousands, are we? We're talking hundreds of thousands to do a season.
motorsport is ridiculously, it is an expensive sport. When you actually break down the costs involved, the cost is somewhat justified.
Yes.
But
Well,
let's say the majority of professional drivers who drive in motorsport, especially in GTs, they're partnered up with them successful business people I was talking about,
yeah,
because not every racing driver can afford to make that jump. Hence, with a large degree of the drivers that I work with, a lot of the work we do is branding, sponsorship. We call them strategic partnerships, but bringing on partners who are beneficial in the short term, but also the long term,
yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of the driver's progression and career.
yeah, yeah. No, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. Obviously, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. Not just with one, but with a few. It's making the step up into the various different divisions of the racing circuits.
No, for sure.
It's extraordinary the amount of money that's been pumped into it, even at a Formula 4, Formula 3 level. It's
Even at a karting level, the amount of funds involved and the amount of commitment and sacrifice that people make in order to, at that level, help their kids pursue their dreams it's crazy. But at the same time, we all do it for a reason. We all love it.
yeah, no, I understand that, and driving around in these cars, they're expensive machines, so it's always going to cost money, isn't it? And
No, for sure.
it's not like buying a tennis racket for your kid and off you go. It's a lot more involved
It's
when
it's,
you
it's slightly different.
when you dive into this kind of thing. So that's great. I think that's very useful. I think it's very interesting, and I love the fact that you're in that space as well and making a stamp on that. So that's great. So obviously we met through Arden, and we did a site for you. Just if you're kind enough, just to talk a little bit about how you found working with us through the process of building your website for you.
No, for sure. I mean, it's been pretty seamless, to be honest. I think that the fantastic thing about it is the way that it's structured in terms of cost and working with yourself, working with John on building the site. It's a very easy and relaxed process, which for me was great because I didn't have 6 hours to write a brief. So once I picked the template, I wrote the brief over a week and a half. I then sent it in. We then got the first build back within a couple of weeks. And then it's just feedback and changes. And from my experience, it almost felt like the amount of changes was to some extent endless, like what we could do. And once I hit the sweet spot with what I wanted, it was an easy upload process. And the additional things that are onboarded, like having this live stream, it's another element which I don't see anybody else and other web builders doing, which is fantastic because it promotes small businesses, it promotes up and coming individuals like myself, and it's appreciated. And there's a reason, following the back of my site, there's the reasons that I brought my clients through the web guys, because I really see it was such an easy and seamless process, and the way that we can price cost it for our clients and structure in different prices. 35 pound a month to run a website is crazy. I know other developers that I've worked with or got quotes from, that's 3 years of you guys is the cost of a single build, and that's about the hosting. So from a cost structure point of view, it's completely worth it, and the service that you get is second to none. Emails are snappy, and I couldn't fault it.
Thank you. It's very kind of you. It's very kind, and I'm very confident and certain that you and I will be working together for many years to come.
I
So
really hope so.
I think we're a really good fit. So I think that's going to be really good for all of us. So listen, Simon, I want to thank you a lot for coming on here. I know you're very busy.
No
What I'd
problem.
like if you, I think what we should do is, because obviously you're in your first year in your journey. Your journey is going to be immense. I have no doubt you're going to be super successful. I think we should do this again in a couple of years to see what's happened.
No, for sure.
We've gone
100%.
through, because one of the things you will find, now I've been self-employed for a long time, is that the plans you make is never going to be what actually happens.
No,
So
I'm very quick. I'm very quickly learning that.
I would absolutely love for us to do this again in a couple of years to see where the journey has taken you and the
No, for
direction.
sure.
I'm sure we've done a few projects together in that time. So, but I think it'll be lovely to do another one of these after a little bit of time has passed. So why don't
No,
we do that?
absolutely. No, that sounds brilliant. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, Simon. To everyone out there, if thank you for coming in and joining our stream today. For everyone who watches this after, it's gonna stay on all our social media platforms where we stream it. So Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you have any questions about social media marketing, especially into motorsports and into that whole industry. If you have any questions for Simon, then obviously you can see his website address there. You can obviously contact him on any time through there. But also, please connect with Simon on all the major platforms. LinkedIn. Go and connect with him on LinkedIn if you haven't already. Follow him. See the great stuff that he produces. So yeah, please go and do that. And if you have any questions about social media marketing into the motorsport section, please put some questions into the streams, and we will come back to you. We'll keep an eye on them, and we
No,
will
for
come back
sure.
with an answer for you guys. So thank you very much for watching. Next time is going to be a very different live stream. I'm going to be joined by the two swans, as they call themselves, Elena and Liz Swan. They are into more spiritual stuff, tarot card readings, and healthy living, mental health, and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be really, really interesting conversation about what it's like setting up a business in that industry. So thank you everyone for now. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend out there, everyone, and we shall see you next time that we're live.